Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today we have a great show. We're going to cover the NBA All-Star Game reactions, what I thought of it, and what we thought about fixing it. There's some breaking MLB news all over today with spring training underway. The NFL franchise tag date is fastly approaching us. We'll go over some players that I think may or may not get tagged. And finally, we'll cover a secret fourth segment that you should all stick around for. I think you'll really enjoy. But before we get too far into this episode, remember that if you would like to skip the queue, ask me a question or anything, all you need to do is go to streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork/tip. Again, that's streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork/tip. That's where you can leave a tip. Again, skip that line, and it will pop up right here on my screen. Without further ado, let's get right into it. The NBA All-Star Game, All-Star festivities happened over the weekend, and it was we'll call it underwhelming game. The game itself, the Eastern Conference ended up winning 212 to 186. And even though the East did end up putting 212 points up on the board, it was a really boring game. You know, it was an exhibition, and we all know it was an exhibition, but they didn't care. And that always has been the biggest issue with the NBA All-Star Game, and really with the NBA in general. You look at the way the regular season is handled by a lot of these players, and it's the same kind of not caring attitude that leads to all these issues we have with the season, all these players not playing, all these complaints that the fans have. And since the NBA is a business, we all know the solution to it. The solution is to cut out more games, to make them mean more. But the NBA is never going to do that. That's just not something that you would want to do as a business. So this is an issue that they need to find more creative ways to solve. Now, the All-Star Game in general, there were some positives. Now, the Steph Curry versus Sabrina Ionescu three-point shooting contest was a massive success on the weekend. It was one of those events that was just really fun to watch. You had Ionescu put up 26 points, and Curry put up 29. 26 would have won the NBA three-point contest. It tied with Dame Lillard, who ended up winning the NBA three-point contest. An incredible showing from Sabrina Ionescu. What she did out there was incredible. But unfortunately, the bigger story coming out of that contest wasn't how good both of them shot. It wasn't how good both of them performed, but it was the commentary from the people covering the event. There were a lot of remarks made by Kenny Smith after the event was over, saying she should have shot from a women's line. She was shooting with WNBA balls, which she was. She was shooting with WNBA balls, but that's just what she's used to. That's what she uses in the games. It wouldn't make sense for her to switch over to the other one. There's nothing wrong with that. And the reaction, not just the reaction, the immediate reaction of it being so strong, so strongly negative towards her. Oh, she never stood a chance. Oh, she should have shot from the women's line, is ridiculous. You saw what she did. She put up 26 points in that contest. 26 points. Again, I'd like to reiterate this here. That would have won the NBA three-point contest this year. That did win the NBA three-point contest this year. And you have people coming out there and immediately trashing her is really not okay. Is really not good for the sport. it's supposed to be a celebration. The All-Star game is not just of the NBA, but also of its other leagues. Mac McClung from the G League, he's won the dunk contest twice in a row. That's really helped that league grow from, I mean, it's not as huge as these other ones, but it's really helped that league grow a little bit. And then the WNBA as well. You see there's plenty of events where stars of the WNBA come and participate. And that three-point contest with Steph was one of them that was the highlight of the weekend. And instead of us sitting here and talking about how we can fix the All-Star game or how we can, you know, have these conversations with how incredible these women are in the WNBA, we're sitting here talking about a commentator of the event. We're sitting here and we're talking about the just awful comments that were made right after. And it really is a shame because they performed incredibly. Now, as I mentioned, Mac McClung, he won the dunk contest for the second year in a row. Mac McClung is not in the NBA. He is in the G League for the 76ers, I believe. And this year he dunked over Shaq. The dunk contest, it had Jaylen Brown back in it. Jaylen Brown was back in the dunk contest. And it was the first time in a while that a true star in the league has decided to participate in that contest. And it really is a shame of what that dunk contest has turned into. I mean, it's not like this is a short time coming. It's been a while of disappointing dunk contest after disappointing dunk contest. And it really is more of the symptom of the All-Star game as a whole. Jaylen Brown came in, he was the first star, and he made the finals. But he wasn't the greatest. He probably shouldn't have made the finals. He made it on name value. And even with Mac McClung winning it for the second time, it wasn't one of those dunk contests that you'd be like, oh my gosh, that was incredible, that was amazing. The whole of All-Star break, the entirety of it, was really underwhelming. And that's really the takeaway that I have. And it's a shame, because there should be a way to fix this. There's plenty of every All-Star game has its issues. Every game, every single league, it is it's an exhibition. But there are certain leagues that do it really well. For as much as it is an exhibition in the NFL, they've done a nice job with their skills contests as of recently, and moving it to flag football was a really good idea. Now, that didn't fix all the issues, but it made it more fun for the players, and they were having fun out there this season. And you look at sports like baseball and hockey, their all-star games are really, really well done. Like the game itself, for both of them, are well done. Now, the players are there, they're having a good time and joking. In baseball, obviously, it's a little bit easier for them to just play a game of baseball. It's not super intense of a sport as compared to football and basketball and hockey. But they do a really good job of that. I mean, the home run derby with that, just the stuff surrounding it, it really feels like they did a good job. They do a really, really good job with their all-star games. And hockey, a sport that is really tightly linked with basketball, not just because they play their seasons at the same time, and because they have the same amount of games, but it's just a very similar grind of the season, and they play in similar cities, same arenas. These two leagues have a lot in common. But having their all-star game, what they do with the 3v3, making it fun, the players love it, they have the celebrities out there. Everything they do is done very well. It's very well done with their all-star game. Is one of those. It's really is just one of those things about the NBA that there's so many issues with the All-Star game, and I think a lot of it boils down to the players. Because in every other league that we've gone over, these players are trying a little bit at least. But when you watch that NBA All-Star game, we know they're not going to try. It's just a fact of life as an NBA fan watching that game. We know they're not going to try. It's an exhibition, and they never do try. Adding stuff like that Elam ending was a really good idea for a little while. It got players to play a lot more intense at the end of the game, as long as it was close. But you see players chucking up half-court shots, and sure, they're having fun. And I'm all for that. I'm all for them having fun. This game doesn't matter. But these players, LeBron James doesn't even play. He's just there. He didn't play in the second half. The All-Star game is a shell of itself. And the festivities, which really should be the selling factor of the All-Star weekend, the festivities aren't even there. And that's the real part that's worrying to me about the NBA. Because we don't expect a good game. It's an exhibition. Anyone that expects a good game is insane, is wrong, honestly. But coming out there and putting up duds in these skills competitions, in the dunk contest, in the 3-point contest outside of Sabrina Ionescu versus Steph Curry, that extra little part, it really is concerning. And there's not a lot of great ways to fix it. You could go and add little incentives to each player in each quarter to get them to play a little more. You could go and add some of these other stuff to incentives to get the players to play more, but it's not going to work. That little stuff. You need to completely revamp the weekend. Add more one-on-ones maybe, and there's a lot of stuff wrong with the NBA All-Star. But the fact that the ancillary events that isn't the game itself are also duds is really a shame. So that's what I'd like to see change in the future here with the NBA. The All-Star weekend was very underwhelming. But we'll see if they make any changes in the future, anything they can do. But come back next segment where we will be talking about some major MLB moves as we get closer and closer to opening day.